Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight we get together to talk about movies, TV and online content and help you answer the question, with Jimmy Kimmel back as Oscar host, does La La Land have a chance of winning the Best Picture? I'm your host Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blatt.
No, but his next film does.
What?
What's his face? His next film? I forget the name of it. Margot Robbie one. It's coming out today.
Oh, Babylon does.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Alright. On today's episode, we'll be talking about what's in our watch history, talking about some film and TV news, giving some thumbs to trailers, and then giving you this week's top 3. But first, big movie released last week. We've already done a spoiler cast over on all new Marvel cast, which you can check out. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, of course, is the follow-up to Black Panther, one of the biggest movies of all time. Dealing with the aftermath of Chadwick Boseman / T'Challa's death, where, Wakanda's kind of trying to move forward without him, and then, Namor comes out of nowhere and, messes things up. Dylan, what are your thoughts on Black Panther, Wakanda Forever?
Yeah, it's really good. It's very different, so it's sort of hard to. I know everyone's gonna. It's hard to, obviously, because it's a sequel. You're doing comparison, but I feel like it's the more I thought about it, since we've even recorded the spoiler cast, I'm like, they're just such different films. It is really, really different. You do it at times doesn't even feel like the last half, sure, or last 45 minutes feels more like an actual superhero movie, but up until that point, it doesn't feel like. I mean, and I said the same thing to a degree about Black Panther, where it feels devoid of the MCU. This one actually feels more connected to the MCU, which is sort of one of the glaring negatives for me. And I won't say for spoiler reasons, but there's they try and
there's a through line.
There's a through line that just doesn't need to be there. Which one of the big things about the first one was it just had no through line. Everything, the one connecting character to it actually made sense, whereas that character this time I don't think made sense. But everything's really, really good about it. Obviously, I think it's one of the darker tonally films, and not in Doctor Strange, everything's actually dark, but theme wise, it's just you've literally got a mother who's lost her son and she's grieving, and you've got a sister who's lost her brother and she's grieving, and that's the plot of the movie more or less. And then it's just a lot of grieving, and then you've got a dude who lives in the ocean who's you're causing problems for me, so I'm gonna make your day even worse. I mean, that's why I don't want to. Yeah, it's really good. I was talking to Buddy the other day, message about the music and stuff, and he said it was a big disappointment. I still stand by that. I don't think the music's a huge disappointment. I think if they tried to do the Kendrick Lamar produced sounds like him and his friends coming on again, I feel like it would have just been going for doubling down, trying to do it twice. Whereas the music, the soundtrack isn't, and not the score. The score is really, really good, but the soundtrack music isn't the same tone, the same type of music, and I think it makes sense why. And for a lot of people, maybe they love that type of music and it'll be like a banger. But for me personally, no. So, is it disappointing a little bit? I guess, but it's fine. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, as I said in my review, I really liked it, but I didn't love it. Lots of very high moments. I think the way they tackled the loss of Chadwick is very respectful. I like some of there's some beautiful silent moments in this movie that everybody in the cinema was quiet, paying respect. I think something that we didn't give enough credit. Someone we didn't give enough credit for in the spoiler cast, Angela Bassett. I think she's fantastic in this movie.
I gave her my most memorable.
I feel like Kieran didn't give enough props, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Kieran did, because he doesn't appreciate art, but that's a whole different thing.
I think, she is fantastic throughout this movie. She has some really powerful moments. I've seen people just say she should be in Best Supporting Actress discussion. I don't know.
I think that's fine.
Go that far,
I don't think she. I think it's fine.
I don't think it's crazy.
I think she's definitely honorable mention, but it's worth having a discussion. But I don't think she's going to get that, and I wouldn't give her that. But definitely honorable mention. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. The way they've been able to work Namor and just the Atlanteans, which they aren't Atlanteans anymore, into this version of the MCU, taking on a lot of this Aztec culture and Spanish history, Mexican history, is really impressive and really clever. And yeah, it's, you know, it does end with like massive CGI fight and that kind of stuff. It does kind of end similarly to the first movie, in which, you know, two factions that you wish weren't fighting are fighting, and like,
yeah. I mean, even the action, like the action in the first one, not a high point. The action in this film, not a high point.
Yeah, it's all the character moments.
Yeah.
You know, and once again, fulfilling the prophecy of Phase 4, it's all about trauma. So,
yeah. It's true. It's true. We kept joking, but it actually turned out to be true. So.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Check out this podcast on Audio Mothercast, and of course, it is playing in cinemas everywhere for the next forever, probably. So I've been in the cinemas a couple of times. I went and I've watched one movie at the Brisbane International Film Festival. You know, a festival filled with like really high-profile movies that people are talking about for end of the year, best of lists, and the one I needed to go watch was Marcel the Shell with shoes on. So this is a stop-motion animated film, but Marcel is stop-motion animated in a live-action setting. She's this little tiny shell who lives in a house, and the director, Dean, who plays the character of Dean, moves into this house. It's an Airbnb, and comes across Marcel, this little boy elf shell, who you know, has been trying to make a living in this giant house after he got separated from the majority of his family. He lives with his grandma, Connie. Yeah, and you just kind of see their different adventures. Obviously, it's expanded on from a bunch of short films that were done several years ago that kind of blew up on YouTube for a short bit, in which, you know, Marcel, like, voiced by Jenny Slate, does like a bunch of cute jokes and that kind of stuff. It's very much expanded on and kind of, you know, explores the idea of like family and wanting and all these other themes. I think it's very adorable, very cute. I like just the ideas of how Marcel gets around the massive house. Her preferred mode of transport is that she's hollowed out. She's gets inside a tennis ball and like then like rolls around. The problem is she can't see where she's going because she's inside the tennis ball. Or she knocks over a like the little teddy bear things of honey and uses that honey to walk up walls.
Smart.
So very clever.
I got a question.
Yes.
This film nominated or has been pushed forward for Best Animated Picture.
Yes.
How is Richard Linklater's movie not eligible in this is?
Oh, no, they just came out this week that, you know, they overturned their decision, so it's going to be eligible as well.
Oh, I missed that. Okay. Because I was about to be like, that's if this isn't like, I haven't seen the movie, nothing against this movie, but when I saw that and I missed that second part, but I was like, what the fuck? Right.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So
well, there you go. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Respect
Justice
to
for all
Linklater.
animation.
Yeah,
so
Justice for all animation. There you go. Yeah.
yeah, I think, yeah, really cute. This just a fun storyline where, you know, they love 60 Minutes and then the crew for 60 Minutes come and helps interview them and that kind of stuff. Gets very emotional at times. Yeah, I would definitely recommend Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I think it's coming out. It's January something or other. Let me just double check.
Catch me talking about it in June next year.
5th of January 2023. So very cute. Also went out and watched Decision to Leave. So this is the latest film from Park Chan-wook. It follows a detective played by Park Hae-il, who, you know, his wife lives in his. It's weird because obviously in Korea they've got like different kind of things. So he's in a weekend marriage. So he works in the city. His wife works out in the countryside at a nuclear center. So he kind of is working as a police officer in their city. There's a case in which a man has fallen off a mountain, and they're kind of trying to figure out if it's murder or if it was suicide. So they bring in his wife, and, you know, he forms that they have a sudden connection. And the film kind of explores this connection while also dealing with trying to figure out whether she committed the murder or not. But, you know, he has feelings for her, she has feelings for him. It's all complicated and that kind of stuff. Beautifully shot, really well acted, you know, I think... obviously, I've not seen much of Park Chan-wook's
I mean, you've seen two
I've
movies.
watched two movies, so I guess...
in the last, like, month, 6 to 8 weeks, whatever it was. Like, so you're sort of fresh. Yeah. You know.
I am part of fresh. Yeah. I think it's probably... I mean, it's very different to... I mean, I think it's up there with Old Boy. I think...
like, well, yeah.
Just because it's not... It's obviously Old Boy is maybe a little bit more impressive because it's, like, action-focused and that kind of stuff. This one's a lot more character-based and... there's a mystery element to all of it. There's some reveals in this that are really enjoyable to see, kind of put all the puzzle pieces being put together.
Loves a good twist.
Yeah, who doesn't? It's a good twist. So,
I'm going to be really interested because obviously I haven't watched this, but I still haven't watched this movie from a couple of years ago. So I'm going to be interested if this actually comes out anywhere I can watch it. It was a one-time cinema only affair.
Yeah, might be. So decision to leave. You know, just hit up Madman. You know, say where the freak are we going to get this in Launceston? So yeah, decision to leave. If you can watch it, go watch it. It's pretty great. Dylan, you watched Resurrection.
I did. What's the actress's name before I go insane? Rebecca Hall? Is that it?
Rebecca Ferguson?
No, that's Mission Impossible.
Rebecca Hall. Sorry.
Yeah, I had it right. So this similar. Is. So this movie, I really liked it. It's coming out end of the month in Australian cinemas. I think that's when it comes out. But it's about this woman who has. I mean, it's hard not to get spoilers for this one, but it's about this woman Rebecca Hall plays. At the start of the movie, you meet someone who's like really got their shit together. You know, like businesswoman. The movie starts with someone else who's there on like an internship in her office or whatever, like talking to her about like a really bad relationship she has. And Rebecca Hall's character's like, you know, basically says, you know, screw them, you should leave, more power to you, fuck that guy, sort of thing. And she has a daughter at home who's 17, about to turn 18, so, you know, like really late teenage daughter. Everything seems cool until she goes to a work conference the next day. And she's just sitting there, you know, sort of bored as this person's waffling on about whatever. And then she looks over to her left and she sees Tim Roth, the character Tim Roth plays, sort of sitting several rows ahead. And she just absolutely has a full, like, breakdown. You can tell, like, it's really triggered something in her. So from there, the movie starts to unravel. And it is basically, without getting into the weeds of it, Tim Roth, they were in a relationship years ago. You definitely know from the outset and the reaction she has that it was not a good memory. It was not a good relationship. It's something that she, like upsets her greatly to the core of her being. She starts acting really weird, stressing out, all these sorts of things. And you don't really know the full story as the movie develops, but it gets really interesting and weird at the same time. As it goes ahead, it gets like into some... quite interesting. Stuff that happens. But Rebecca Hall is absolutely fantastic in this. She does a several minute monologue straight to the camera. And I think it's like one of the best things I've seen this year, sort of acting wise. Just this one straight, no cut monologue. I think all they do is they like turn the exposure down or something like that. Like it's almost like she becomes more of a silhouette as the camera like slowly moves in on her face throughout this monologue she's sort of giving us. She's explaining. It's when she's finally explaining to someone what Tim Roth's character did to her, and it's just like everything around her slowly, like she becomes this talking head sort of thing as it goes. It's really well put together. Tim Roth is creepy as fuck when he actually does show up, and it's sort of funny because the other thing I've watched him in this year is She-Hulk, where he's very charming and lovable in this, and then in this I'm like, you are, I fucking like from the outset, you just like the film does such a good job. At first you're like, she's sort of, you have that like moment of, well, at least I did, like a moment of being like, oh, maybe she's crazy. And then like 10 seconds later, because of what Tim Roth's character does, I'm like, nah, fuck this guy. Like very quickly sort of turned on people. So I really, really enjoyed it. It's like a psychological thriller, I guess would be the genre. But yeah, I think the performances from Rebecca Hall and Tim Roth definitely make this a well worth watching.
Awesome. You also watched Watcher. Is this related to The Watcher?
No, but it's really annoying because when I type that in, when I was typing Watcher into like Trakt to find it or whatever, it was just like it's coming up with the Watcher. This is again, I guess it's like a psychological thriller, but I think it's like a debut film or maybe this person's second film or something like that. They did do a short, I know, from VHS 94, which is why when I was looking up directors of that, when I watched it, I was like, oh, I should watch this. This came out this year. It's got the girl from, what's her name? Let me find it. Micah Monroe from It Follows, sort of. So she has like sort of this independent horror pedigree because she was also in The Guest and a few other things. So she, at the start of the movie, she's moved to, where does she move to? It probably says here. Budapest. Budapest. So she's moved from America to there with her partner. And, it's a bit weird because she can't speak. I don't know what language they speak, though. I can't remember. Whatever language they speak. But, so she's dealing with her partner. I think it's actually her husband. Like, he's talking to friends and she can't understand. Like, the movie does a very good job of sort of secluding her. Like, she's moved to a completely different country and she's hanging around with people who she can't understand even though she's trying to learn language. She has no friends. She has no family. The movie does a very good job at setting up this character as, hey, they're lonely. They got, they're just sort of left by their own. And then what ends up happening is she spots someone across the way from her apartment or whatever she's in, who's played by Bern Gorman, who most people would know, I guess, as the little bitch from The Dark Knight Rises, but also Torchwood and a few other things. But he's like potentially watching her, or isn't he? I can't say without spoiling it, but the movie plays on, is she losing her mind because the fact that she is this secluded, lonely person and she's just staring out the window and she has too much sort of free time and her mind's playing tricks on her? Or is this dude actually sitting there watching her, or like sort of trying to fuck with her and whatever else? So that's, again, it's like this thriller that plays out from there. Really good performance from Micah Monroe and I guess Bern Gorman, and the little bit you actually get to see. Most of the time you sort of a shadowy figure in the distance or her potential thought train and whatever else. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's really well shot. Cinematography is really, really good for this sort of movie that takes place primarily in and around apartment buildings, and in particular one apartment building. It was good. I enjoyed it.
All right. And you also watched Dashcam, the film shot on a dish cam.
Yeah, I didn't like this one. So here's my downer. So this is from the dude who did Host a couple of years ago, which I really liked. That was the one. I think it was Host. I'm going to double check. What it's called. Yeah, Host 2020. It was sort of the start of the pandemic. Everyone's on their laptop talking to one another. It's only 57 minutes. I watched it on my laptop, and I think I talked about it here and saying I suggest watching it that way because it looks like you're watching, like you're part of the conversation. I thought that was really, really good, and at 57 minutes, it never overstays welcome or anything like that. This movie, hour 20. It's a little bit longer, but it's gibberish. You've got this character, Annie, who's been played by someone playing herself, I guess, or something like that, or a version of herself. I don't really know. Anyway, she's the least likable person. And I think that's kind of the point. Like, she's live TikToking. She's a Trump supporter. And she's like anti-vaccines, and it's all fake. And then she travels to the UK, to the UK to meet up with an old band buddy because she's like, "Fuck this, the US is keeping me down, man, trying to make me wear masks." And then she turns up this dude's doorstep, and then she basically makes his life hell because she's all like, "Yeah, fuck the vaccines," and all this bullshit. And then he's like got a partner who's like, "This woman's crazy," and he's very much like obviously grown up since their band days or whatever else, and she's just trying to cause havoc. She eventually ends up, this woman's like, "I'll pay you basically to randomly, can you drop off a friend somewhere?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." After she gets this car, and then weird shit starts happening with this woman. Like, there's, what the fuck's going on? Anyway, I didn't like it. I sort of failed to keep my attention at all. It was just, it's everything people say that these found footage type movies are, that I disagree with for some. When they're all like, they're like this and the shit, and it's just all shaky cam and it's not really scary. This is that movie. It's just a bunch of bullshit. So yeah, I don't watch this one.
All right. And you went out and watched The Woman King, a movie I watched a few weeks ago.
Yeah, really good. Obviously, I don't want to repeat everything, but Regina King's
What?
Stella. Sorry, no, what? Why do I have
Viola
Regina
Davis.
King? Yeah, why do I have Regina King on my mind?
She's a great actress as well.
She's a great actress. That's true. Viola Davis is really good. But who the fuck is the other person that I want to give a shout out to? What the fuck's her name? From Bond. What's
Lashana Lynch.
Yeah, Lashana Lynch is the star of the movie. That's easily the like. I don't want to like everyone's really good in this movie, but Lashana Lynch is easily the standout star. John Boyega was in a lot more than I thought he would be after I asked you how much he's in it. He was like, oh, maybe like 10 minutes. He's in a lot more than 10 minutes. Like
Spread out.
Yeah, it's spread out, but like he was in a lot. I'm not complaining, but I went in thinking he was going to have like one scene, and he showed up at the start. I'm like, won't see him for a while, and then 5 minutes later he's back. I was like, okay. So, I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's like in my, I don't know, I've seen best movie of the year. Not quite that for me. Really well put together, really well shot. I kind of wish it was a bit more vicious. Is my only sort of complaint with all the brutality and just like how like it felt a little bit.
You literally see have it severed heads roll, so I don't know what you're.
No, I don't know. It just I don't know. It just felt like it was missing like a little bit of a grunt or a bit of a. I don't know. It felt too clean at times. Like I just needed a bit more. I needed it to be a bit more dirty considering what's happening and what's going on in this movie. But that's fine. All around great performances, shot really well. Music was great, locations are great, but yeah, just I need a little bit something to push me over the edge.
Okay. You also went out and watched Bros.
Yeah, I did. It's really funny. For a second I was like, "What's that?" But then yeah, my brain failed me for a second. I think it was very funny. I think it's one of the funniest comedies of the year. Like I don't know what I feel like there's two. You got these two camps of people saying, no, people don't like it because it's not funny. And then the whole people aren't watching it because they're fucking homophobic. I know I'm kind of falling more in that camp because I thought it was very funny. And if this wasn't, like, if the plot of this wasn't, hey, it's what the fuck are it's like Bridesmaids people, hey, if you like Bridesmaids, you should watch this movie. And if this was straight people, everyone would be like, fuck yeah, I love Bridesmaids, let me show that. But if you pitch, I swear it's a thing of like, do you like movies like Bridesmaids? Yeah, fuck yeah. Or how about like that type of humor and story and like themes, but it's like two gay dudes, they're like, nah, fuck that. Like it's just, I feel like it is because yeah, I thought it was really funny. It was really well put together, written. It doesn't go down all the cheap tropes for this sort of story. It plays out a lot differently. So, yeah, I liked it. I can't remember. What did you say? Did you?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Billy Eichner is really, really good in it.
I just feel, well, money wise, I think, I don't think people go to the cinema to see comedies at the moment.
Like, comedies have always been one of the biggest moneymakers, though. When they do well, when a big comedy shows up, when a big comedy turns up and it's really good and it's really funny, people go watch it. It's always been a thing. So, I don't know. I don't want to put all the blame on it, but I don't think it's bullshit to say that an element of it is that it's just, yeah, I still think there's an element of it that is definitely laying on homophobia. I straight up think that. I can't help it.
Alright, so I just did a quick Google search. Clyde has got an article, the top 10 highest grossing comedy movies of the last 10 years. Number 1, Deadpool. That's
it's comedy.
783. But it's a superhero movie, so.
Alright, yeah. Half a point then.
Number 2, Deadpool 2.
Half a
734 million.
We're at 1 point.
Yep. Number 3, Men in Black 3.
Half point again.
Yep. Number 4, Ted, 549 million.
2.5 points. See?
Number 5, The Untouchables, 426 million.
The Untouchables?
That's the French comedy drama. About a man in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Were you fucking really?
Yeah, I'm sure, do well.
International audience. Go hard.
Yeah.
Go but yeah, half point again.
Okay, number 6, The Hangover Part 3.
Yep. 4 points.
Number 7, Jump Street. 22 Jump Street.
Points.
Number 8, Green Book.
Yeah. Not
$121 million.
Yeah.
Number 9 is Pitch Perfect 2.
That's half a point, surely.
287 million. And then number 10 is Bad Neighbors.
So 5.5 points out of 10. 5.5 out of 10 are comedies. See, I told you, the comedies do really fucking well at the box office when people like that. And considering most of those were half points, at least.
I mean, so what? It was the $500 million to $270 million mark worldwide.
I'm not saying this has to be the next fucking
no,
hangover,
what I'm saying.
but
how much has Bros made worldwide? Let's have a look.
69,000 million.
It says
Nice.
41 million.
Damn.
Surely that can't be right.
I'm telling you, a movie has not been doing well. I was the only person in my cinema. I'm not even exaggerating. I was legit the only person in the cinema.
Yeah, $14 million worldwide. So
yeah. And they have promoted it. They've done Billy on the Street. They've done all these things. And that thing does really well. I think it's hugely underperformed, and it's nothing to do with the quality of the movie.
No.
It's very, very charming. All the characters are great. Well, Billy Eichner's basically playing himself, but like amped up, which is fine. It makes for a fun time. The Aaron, the love interest, I thought he was very charming, that actor, and everything.
He's pretty great.
Everything else, he's pretty great. All the other people that are in it, that part of his museum.
I will say, there's not like
great.
a standout supporting character.
Yes, I don't know. His friend's pretty funny, like his family. Oh no, they're not in it that much though. That one time where he goes and visits his friend, and all the kids do the bottom dance. Oh, no, I thought that was funny.
Yeah, but then they don't show up for like.
They don't show up again. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm not saying the movie's like perfect comedy of all time, but I definitely feel like it deserves to have done better than that.
It definitely deserves to have been watched more than it has been watched.
Had a heartful actually ending. I thought that last scene, and without spoiling it, was actually played on the heartstrings. So it does achieve everything. It's very, I think it's very funny, and it achieves the romance angle as well, the rom-com angle or whatever.
Trying to say, it looks like Black Adam's just eating his lunch. So
it starts with a dude recording a podcast. How could I not like this movie?
Yeah. What a great way to open a movie.
Yeah.
All right. So the big thing that's been swirling around the internet the last few days, Studio Ghibli posts out a video on their social medias with Lucasfilm. What could Studio Ghibli possibly be doing with Lucasfilm? And then today they post like a picture of Hayao Miyazaki, and there's a little Grogu figure on a table. Like, oh, what crazy thing is they doing? What is a crazy thing that they are doing? It turns out they did a short film in celebration of the 3-year anniversary of The Mandalorian, called Zen. Zen something.
It's like Grogu and the fucking dust bunnies to me.
Yeah, it's Grogu and the friggin' dust bunnies. I didn't realize it had already come out by the time we recorded this podcast. So Dylan, you've actually watched it?
Yeah, it's fine. It's a really it's a hand drawn animation, and sort of purposely in that rough hand drawn style, which I think is going to turn some people off. But as if you can appreciate animation like that done well, it's really enjoyable, cute. It is literally just it's just a short, sweet animation of Grogu and these dust bunnies like that. There's no massive. If you're expecting something crazy out of this, you're not going to get it. Like, you watch it for 3 minutes, you go, "Oh, that was cute," and then you move on with your life. I'm just wondering if there's more to this. And I'm like, this seems very weird. Like, partnership just for this. Like, can you do this? Like, it just.
Are we getting more Mandalorian stuff, or are we getting more?
I don't know. Like, it just makes me wonder if they.
Does Studio Ghibli need to do more projects to pay the bills? Because
they've always had this thing where
Miyazaki's film isn't coming out for any time.
Yeah, well, so the problem with Studio Ghibli is that they are both Disney's, they're Japan's Disney and not at the same time, because they have failed to properly invest in their own studio to the point that they don't put out movies and stuff.
They don't have.
They don't have.
The major problem with
creators.
them is they haven't had like a succession plan.
No, and in a world where Miyazaki was retiring and he's come out to do this one last movie, but he's doing it all by himself basically, and he's hand drawing everything, and it's taking forever. They just don't have anything, going on. It does make me wonder though if they figure their shit out, and a great way for them to expand. Small steps, don't go like, let's do a full feature film, bro. Like anything like that. I think a small step would be Star Wars Visions Season 2. That would be
because Season 2 they've already confirmed is going to be a bunch of like European and other
Oh, yeah.
studios from elsewhere
Three
around
then.
the world. Yeah.
Visions would be a very good way to do a partnership and then see how. Then they could see how it feels. You know, how does it feel to work with? You know, you're not committing to a big feature. You're not, you know, these sorts of things. I feel like that would be a very good like stepping stone, and see how you go from there. And I hope that something like that could be what's happening.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, Studio Ghibli. Of course, you should check out Studio Ghibli's Animated Wonders, which we talk about every single Studio Ghibli film. But yeah, since I'm trying to think of the last film.
The last film was that really average one we watched at the cinema.
Well, they did The Witches.
Yeah, that one.
Something.
Yep.
Which was done by his son in 3D.
Yeah, it's still there.
They really have not put out much.
No,
not that they had like a steady output, but you know, yeah, it's tough, and it's also tough because a lot of the younger people in the studio obviously went off and did their own thing, rather than, you know, stick around and build Studio Ghibli even more so.
Yeah, because they didn't feel like they could do anything there, which is probably true to a point, you know.
Yeah,
like they literally went off and made.
It's much
like
easier
that.
to build your own legacy than trying to.
Well, that one to watch. We watched it for you and watched like a couple of years ago. The Witch one. That was one of the dudes.
Mary and the Witch.
Yeah,
Flower, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the dudes who was being trained up to be like part of Studio Ghibli's lineage, and he left and started his own studio, and that was the first film. So
okay. Also, Dylan, you delayed the start of this podcast because you wanted to watch one episode of the Zootopia Plus short film collection.
Yep. So they put out. I didn't realize this came out a couple days ago. So yeah, I had to delay by 10 minutes. I look at I watched the Grogu thing. I was like, yeah, cool. And then I see this, and I was like, fuck, I didn't realize it's out. I better watch it. I look at the episodes and the length just out of interest. So they're all about like 10 minutes. So they're not like 3-minute things. They're all about 10 minutes. And I see the bottom one is a storyline which involves Flash, $1 Million Dash. And I'm like, I need to watch that shit. So I watched that one. Very funny. I laughed out loud quite a bit. The synopsis is literally, you got this character who's like a waiter, and they're like, at the start, they're like, oh man, I'm so excited. Half an hour until I get to go to the Gazelle, whatever, concert, Shakira's character. And then in walks Flash with, I can't remember his partner's name. Whatever her name is, the one that's voiced by Kirsten Bell, I think. Yes, I think that's who voices it. But they come in, they want a table, man. If the one scene with Flash and Zootopia, and by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the sloth. Flash is the sloth. If that one scene makes you laugh every time in Zootopia, which it does me, this episode, this is a 10-minute must watch. I don't know if you need to watch the rest. I need to watch the rest. I will definitely watch the rest, but you 100% need to watch this. It's very, very funny. And the animation is 100. It's Zootopia. It looks very good. The voice talent, it's good shit. Can't wait to watch this.
So I watched the series that just dropped on Disney Plus called The Next Thing You Eat. So this is from David Chang, who previously did like Ugly Delicious over on Netflix, and was on the Anthony Bourdain. I'm trying to find the name of it. You got to start with Anthony Bourdain. But yeah, this series kind of follows like the future of food and like restaurants and that kind of stuff. Released 2021, so it's shot after the start of pandemic. So there's a few episodes like kind of like talking to different people who worked in the food industry while the pandemic's going on, and how that affects how restaurants will hopefully be run in the future, and then also like they tackle the idea of like home delivery and how that kind of changed how restaurants kind of work, like the rise of,
you mean
like
Uber Eats and stuff? Or?
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like the rise of like ghost kitchens, where it's like people are just cooking food in some factory somewhere, and the Uber Eats guy comes and picks it up instead of like serving actual customers. And like in parts of Hollywood, they have like little robots delivering the food instead of having like.
Did you see?
Messengers.
Just to jump in, it's not where you live, but did you see they added those drones in Queensland somewhere?
No, I haven't seen that. So.
Uber, I think it was Uber. They've got drones delivering food in a particular suburb of Brisbane at the moment.
I think I do recall seeing the story, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, as soon as I saw the story, I clicked on it to see if it was around you because I was going to be, you need to. But then I saw it was some other suburb I've never heard of, and I was like, God damn it! Yeah, so the second you can, you better, because if I could, I'd be like, I'd order shit right now. I'd be ordering shit just for the fuck, just to watch this drone deliver.
Yeah, just
I'd be so amused.
The camera out the door and then just wait for it to drop it.
I'd be so amused just for a week, just to be like, all right, let me order. How many milkshakes can I order from McDonald's? Like, I don't need to actually drink them. Like, how many milkshakes before one of these motherfuckers just gets
Why did you really decide to milkshakes?
Because he's going to drop one somewhere.
Definitely could not do.
Fuck it. Yeah, I don't know. Just what came in my mouth. But I'll be so... I can tell you, if I could order off drones, I would just out of pure amusement, I'd be ordering shit.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. A lot of interesting ideas they tackle, not just the food industry, but like the sustainability of like sushi, like how much... Obviously, sushi's kind of been something that's blown up in the last probably decade and a half, but, you know, the amount of fish is still kind of the same. So, like, how are we going to keep doing that in the future? A lot of, like, discussing, like, a lot of how a lot of companies like doing, like, making fish. You know what I mean? Like, genetically. And how, you know, it's getting close to the point where, you know, people won't be able to tell the difference between fish grown in the ocean and fish grown in a lab. And how that's going to like change the potential of, you know, humans in the future, because they will be more cost effective and more readily available and that kind of stuff. Yeah, really interesting series. Only 6 episodes, about 45 minutes each. So I would recommend checking that out on Disney Plus. Let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. Dylan, I believe you watched a Film of the Year contender, All Quiet on the Western Front.
What a fucking movie. I'm telling you right now. This is intense. This is an intense movie. Definitely up there in my sort of short list of best movies of the year. I feel like the pacing at times is a little bit off, is my only sort of critique about it. Otherwise, if you want a really good war movie, this is it. So the setup is World War One. You get introduced to, I can't remember any characters' names, it doesn't matter. But the story follows 4 German soldiers. They're kids, obviously, they're like, you know, barely adults. And at the start, they're so excited, can't wait to go fight for Germany. And just to watch it, and just at the start, how excited they are to, you know, serve and whatever and fight. And then by the time they get there and they get to those shit, stinking fucking holes where they're just shooting at each other for years and doing nothing but, you know, dying, and their faces and just the way everything goes and how it all plays out. And it takes place over several years, so you do get time jumps and these sorts of things. But it's, yeah, I feel like there's no way Nick doesn't like this movie. I don't know if he's watched it yet, is the way I'd sort of pitch it, because it is a really good war movie, but it's in the category of it's a really good anti-war movie, which is its own sort of category. You know, like it just plays it how it is, but it's not like your Hollywood Save It Private Ryan, you know, like it's about the heroes and there's a bad guy. It's very much like you watch this and at the end you're like, the film does such a good job, in particular about World War One, where it's like, what's the fucking point? Like all these, you know, like you're not like, yeah, fuck yeah, especially because you're following it from the side of the Germans. And they certainly don't win this. They don't win any wars. That's their, you're just the way, yeah. So, you know, from the outset, you're like, wait, I'm following the losers here. You know, nothing's going to go right for these characters. So, and it's pointless, and they know it's pointless, and everything else. I feel like I just have such a, ever since I watched that Peter Jackson documentary a couple years ago, They Shall Not Grow Old, I think that was the title of it, which is just one of the best. I think that's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen in my life. Did you ever end up watching that or no? I can't remember.
No, I didn't.
I still stand by that being one of the best. Yeah, that's if you like documentaries, that's something that I feel like everyone should watch, especially in a world where World War One isn't like covered much because of the fact that there's not much footage and video and that sort of stuff for people to use, whereas that documentary is literally fixed and added voiceover, and it's insane. But ever since I watched that, I've had such a more just interest in World War One, and this being set there, it was making me think about that documentary again. But it does the same sort of thing. Like that documentary is very much like this. Millions of people died for no reason, just so people in fucking rooms, over politics for no reason, and then. The documentary in this movie, very much the same sort of thing. So I would 100% suggest watching it. Just be prepared. It's not like enjoyable, but like it's dark and dire, and you'll reach the end and you sort of feel exhausted. So, but very good.
I watched the 6th and latest series of Big Mouth. Of course,
from one fucking thing to the other.
Death and war,
and
penises.
Yep.
Yeah, another great season. Interestingly, there's not like a massive. I felt like every previous season, there's been like some new creature that's been added to the lore of like these kids. That isn't necessarily the case this season, but everybody kind of gets their own story throughout the season. Whether it's Andrew dealing with his long-term girlfriend, Bernie Sanders.
Whoa. Is that a phrasing or?
No, the girl's called Bernie Sanders.
Okay, right. I was like, what the?
It's not actually Bernie Sanders.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and Jesse is dealing with her family issues. Obviously, her stepmom is pregnant and like having to deal with that. Lots of smaller stories that all coming together. All the while, Maurice is pregnant, based on the events of Human Resources. So if you're watching, I don't know where you left. You probably watched season 5 of Big Mouth, right?
I believe I've caught up on Big Mouth. I have not watched Human Resources though.
You need to, So you would have watched last season of Big Mouth, which was season 5.
It ended with that ends with the whole. Last season had the Nick the cameo of what's his face.
Yes.
Right. But then that got meta, right? Yeah.
So then you need to watch Human Resources before watching this season for canon reasons.
That's a lot of work.
So
wait. So Human Resources is just like set in between these seasons? Is that the?
Yes.
Okay.
I know I was a bit subpar. Like I was like.
Well, I recall you. I recall you saying Human Resources was good, but not as good as Big Mouth. That's what I heard you say. So.
Yeah, I'd probably say overall, but it definitely picked up towards the end of the season. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Another great season of Big Mouth. Lots of funny gags. There's an entire episode narrated by the Shame Monster's mother. Her voice by, I want to say, Helen Mirren, in which she discusses the shame of female vaginas. So it's just a bunch of stories about women like being really upset about their vaginas. So
I feel like these shows. So what will happen is I won't watch this for a while, and then eventually I'll reach a period where I just like. So if I need to watch Human Resources, I'll just binge Human Resources and this in like a couple of days is what happens. Because last time I was like several seasons behind and I just caught up on both like 2-3 seasons in like a week, I think. Just when I had, it was like, I've got spare time. There's nothing I need to play or watch or what. I think it was when I was on holidays. Maybe or something like
yeah. All right. That's everything in our watch history. Let's move into the little bit of film news we got. Big story. Westworld has been cancelled. Reading from Hollywood Reporter, HBO has switched off Westworld. The network has decided to cancel the sci-fi drama after its recent 4th season, in an unexpected fate for a series that was once considered one of HBO's biggest tentpoles and acclaimed mystery box that racked up 54 Emmy nominations, including a supporting actress win for Thandie Newton. Last month, co-creator Jonathan Nolan said in an interview that he hoped HBO would give the series a 5th season to wrap up the show's ambitious story, which has chronicled an uprising that changed the fate of humanity. Yet, linear ratings for the pricey series fell off sharply for its 3rd season, and then dropped even further for its 4th. Westworld's critic average on Rotten Tomatoes likewise declines from the mid-80s for its first 2 seasons to the mid-70s for the latter 2. Fans increasingly griped that the show had become confusing and tangled in mythology and lacked characters to root for. Looming over all of this is the fact Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav has pledged aggressive cost-cutting, though network insiders maintain that saving money was not a factor in the show's cancellation. Dylan, what do you feel about Westworld being cancelled?
Bevan World's over, yo. One of the Explosion Network's original review after shows. Rest in peace. I think it's sort of disappointing. Obviously, I like Westworld. I do agree that, you know, the first season, the banger, and it sort of just stands on its own as such. But this last season, I think, was the best since the first season. At least I felt like it was. It sort of felt like it was getting back on track. And when me and Nick talked about the finale, we were saying, like, it really very much felt like it set itself up for one final season. It was like all the chess pieces were being moved into place, and it was like, all right, we've got 10 episodes left, and we're heading towards wrapping up now. And you could see sort of what the idea of that last season was going to be. So it's sort of annoying that they come this close to the finish line and we don't get to see it through. But I understand at the same time, it's the viewer numbers were like, I would always see stories about viewership dropping and whatever else. I thought the ratings might have been up for this season. They surely were up over the last season, but they were never going to reach the highs of that first season again. So, yeah, disappointing, but not surprising, ultimately.
Yeah, as an outsider, I think, you know, I just suspect they would have given it its final season just so the story is complete. I think, especially in this day and age where shows live much longer than they do while they're airing, having a complete story would have been, I think, I don't know, I think it maybe is something that is undervalued. Like, especially with the news that apparently, reading from Deadline, citing unnamed sources, a new report from Deadline indicates that the core Westworld cast, which includes Evan Rachel Wood, Thandi Newton, Jeffrey Wright, Ed Harris, and Aaron Paul, had negotiated pay-or-play deals for Season 5. A pay-or-play contract ensures that an actor will still be paid even if the production does not move forward and their services are no longer required. It's a way for producers or studio or network to guarantee that the talent will be on hand for a project that is in development. The salaries due for the Westworld cast are said to be $10 to $15 million. So you're definitely going to have to pay these actors, whether the series was going to be done or not. So you might as well have just done this season, just so people have closure, and there's a reason for people to go back and watch it again, I guess. Or new viewers to go in and go, oh, it's
there's way less. Story. There's way less reason to start a show when you know there isn't actually a finish line.
With the show cancelled, would you recommend people go watch Westworld?
I'd recommend watching the first season and just pretending there's no more after that. Because the second you go to the second season, the more you're going to want to watch. That's when they really start introducing all these other characters and elements that just are going to get left, and you're never going to see them come through. Whereas the first season, yeah, sure, there's like elements left open towards that happened in the second season, but at least I feel like you could watch that and see some storylines actually close off in that first season.
Absolutely. Yeah. So rip Westworld, rip Bevan World, which is probably the more important thing. Yeah. Very sad. Yeah. That's kind of all the big film news for the week. It's been
wrong.
What? What did I miss?
Ash Ketchum won the world championship.
Well, I thought we were going to save that for Arcade Couch this week.
I don't need to mention that because it's an anime, right? This is why I'm going to talk about anime, right?
Okay.
I just want to shout out to my boy.
Thanks. Shout outs to Pokemon for spoiling the show that is only airing in Japan.
Yeah, I was going to ask this. How do you feel about this in the world of spoilers? Like, obviously you're not watching it, and I don't care. I retweeted it because I was like, fuck, I don't give a fuck. But it is quite interesting the fact that it's only airing in Japan. I've seen, so Pokemon account retweets it, says Ash finally won. Then I see the English voice actor for Ash quote retweet it and say, super excited to bring the story to life to you, down the line or whatever else. So like I actually just think it was like, it's just such a monumental moment that it's like, if you're waiting for the dub, too bad, so sad. It's like, whatever. Like, it's, yeah, I thought it was funny. But I did see people, and I've still seen people looking in the replies to some, looking to reply to that person, the actor quote retweeting. Look at it. Every now and then, every couple of people, there's someone like, hey, you spoiled it for me, man. I'm like, man, just celebrate. Ash, this 10-year-old's been trying for 25 fucking years.
Yeah, he finally was able to win the big one.
Did you see
did you actually watch the footage?
Tweet? No, because I don't want that spoiled. I've seen what people said, or I've seen tweets hinting at what happens, which is that it must like flash back and show previous teams or something like that is what I've gathered.
Yeah,
there's Pokemon.
There's a moment. They showed the last like, obviously it's a 6-on-6 battle. There's one Pokemon each left. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler to say.
No, I don't think that's a spoiler.
Yeah, and there's a moment that, there's a bit of a flashback of all the different Pokemon Ash has had.
Yeah.
Every single companion that he's had on his journey is kind of watching either in the stadium or on mobile devices.
Screen somewhere. Yeah.
So
that's the part. Having him win sport doesn't affect me. I would rather just watch all that and see how I feel when I'm going to watch it properly. That's fine. That's my choice. But seeing it, it's such a big story moment that, because this is why we have this discussion. Like, can you have big things spoiled? Where it's like, it doesn't really matter that he won. I just don't want to see it out of context. I want to watch it myself. That would be the spoiler to me. I don't want someone to flash the clip in front of me. I want to be able to choose when I watch it. Because it sounds like it's emotional.
Well, the bit that I watched, it was like a 10-minute bit of the actual fight, so it was pretty emotional. It just felt like a sports anime, which is not what Pokemon has felt like ever. It just
depends. There are episodes where it's like especially when you get into the full.
No, I guess like the first time he loses at the championships against what's his face and the Sparky, the Pikachu. When spoilers
Lieutenant
for
Surge, Lieutenant Surge.
when Charizard quits, he has to forfeit.
Yeah. There's always like sad, like actual,
Yeah. Well, of course, because he's been losing for 25 years, so filled with sad moments.
Do you see the tweet I retweeted before where it was like, Ash is what every manager wants, a 10-year-old with 25 years work experience. I was like, fuck, that's true.
Very interesting. Congrats, Ash. This might be the point where he retires from
It's crazy. I'm like, what happens now? Because obviously the Pokemon anime is always airing. And every time a new mainline game comes out, they change location to that region in the anime. Mm-hmm. Like Ash, it's sort of like a refresh, but it's not. Like Ash sort of starts with like just Pikachu again, and he starts capturing or whatever else. I'm like, what the fuck? He's won the champion. Like, is Pokemon over? Like, what happens there to anime now? Are we getting a new character? Because people have always had this rumor ever since they introduced Go a couple seasons ago at the start of Sword Shield that he was being sort of slowly pushed to be the new lead of the show, which I'm not against it. If Ash is still in some episodes, at least I'd be willing to test the waters. But man, I could tell some people would be pissed if that's what they're going to do. But we'll see.
No. Yeah. It'll be interesting. Like, can you do a season of the show where Ash has been champion? I mean, how does that even handle? And then he loses, he just gives away all his Pokemon again and starts fresh. It's like, I guess I gotta try and win again. The pressure. If they do, he has to turn 11. That's my minimum requirement.
First episode of the next season. It's his birthday. He's finally turning 11. What a big moment.
All right. Sure, there wasn't any big news, but there's so much casting and like film news, small stories. That we do a segment we like to call Would You Want to Invest, in which I give Dylan a different project. He lets me know if he would want to fully invest, partially invest, or not invest, and then history is the judge of whether he is a winner or not. So yeah, Dylan, are you looking forward to this week's iteration of Would You Want to Invest?
I'm strapped in and ready for you to give me a bunch of shitty movies or projects. All right.
17 years ago, George Clooney brilliantly restaged a precarious moment in US history with Good Night and Good Luck. This was the tale of Morrow and the CBS News producer Fred Friendly, who has laid their professional lives on the line to take on the fascist red-baiting bully that was Wisconsin to Joseph McCarthy. It's hard to imagine telling the story more concisely than Clooney and co-writer Grant Heslov did with Good Night and Good Luck, but Morrow and Friendly didn't do it alone. So it's encouraging to hear via the Hollywood Reporter that Clooney and Heslov have teamed with Jonathan Glatzer, who's written on Better Call Saul and Succession, to tighten up the microscope on the amazing moment in history in a new television series, which will air on AMC.
I'm half invest.
Okay.
Is that an option? I forget.
Partially invest.
Partial invest. I like the talent behind. I don't love George Clooney involved in anything really when he's not an actor, though, to be honest. So I like everyone but him. I don't really think he's a great director, and I don't think he's a great producer either, so, but we'll see.
Killing Eve, Sandra Oh, Kyo Chin, and Yun Kao Kai Dun are set for key recurring roles in The Sympathizer, a drama series adaptation of Viet Thanh Nguyen's Pulitzer Prize-winning novel, produced and co-starring Robert Downey Jr. The Sympathizer is an espionage thriller and cross-cultural satire about the struggles of a half-French, half-Vietnamese communist spy during the final days of the Vietnam War and is resulting in the exile in the United States. Describes as a blistering exploration of identity in America, a gripping spy novel, and a powerful story of love and friendship.
Wait, who's Robert Downey Jr. in this?
The
main character, because that doesn't make sense.
No,
is he painting his fucking skin a different color again? Like, what's going on there?
He's said to play multiple supporting roles as the main antagonists.
Okay. I was like, Robert Downey Jr. is not Asian.
Old Boy director Park Chan-wook is on board as co-showrunner, along with Don McKellar, who will also direct the series.
Fully invest! Oh, fuck it. Where's this coming to? Does it say?
I don't think it does.
When does Robert Downey Jr. do TV shows?
The series is co-production between HBO and A24, so...
Okay, why didn't you tell me that before, Ash?
Well, that was at the bottom of the article, so...
Fucking hell. Alright, fully invest.
Alright.
Leave out the key figures. Key stats.
Mario Van Peebles has wrapped production in Montana on Outlaws, a new western that he wrote, directed, and stars in for Quiver. Others joining...
What the fuck is Quiver? Is it Quibi back in with different form?
I don't know. This is something I need to check.
What? I've heard of never Quiver. Quibi? Quiver. It's Quibi, but they go for 45 minutes. That's a normal streaming service, sir. No, it's not. It's different. Quiver, you can only watch on Samsung Frame TVs when you rotate them to a vertical angle. For a niche audience.
Quiver distribution.
Okay, right.
It's a distribution company.
Okay. All right, continue. All right. Okay.
Others joining Van Peebles in major roles include Whoopi Goldberg, Cedric the Entertainer, Edward James Olmos, John Carroll Lynch, William Maptha, and M. Emmett Walsh. Outlaw follows Chief, a renegade cowboy putting together a multicultural team of new and old friends in order to ride into dangerous, unsettled territory to achieve gold from an abandoned mine. Hot on Chief's tail is Angel, a spurned lawman and Civil War veteran with a thirst for vengeance. So begins a cross-country journey with Chief and his band of outlaws, crossing paths with a number of interesting historical characters on the way, including a true-to-life stagecoach Mary, played by Goldberg.
Partially invest. I feel like maybe Westerns are going to come back. So maybe, yeah, like at the moment, because obviously Yellowstone sort of thing gives you a bit more interest, but...
Okay.
1886, whatever that is as well, the prequel thing.
Omar J. Dorsey, Andrea Anders, Vanessa Felito, and Jorge Garcia are set as series regulars opposite Sebastian Maniscalco in HBO Max's original comedy series How to Be a Bookie from Big Bang Theory co-creator, executive producer Chuck Law and Warner Brothers Television. Co-written by Law and Nick Backay, in How to Be a Bookie, veteran bookie Danny struggles to survive the impending legalization of sports gambling, increasingly unstable clients, family, co-workers, and a lifestyle that bounces him around every corner of Los Angeles, high and low.
Not investing. Just like they stereotyped all the nerds in Big Bang Theory, I'm sure every character in this is going to be Italian and yell at each other.
Oscar and Emmy winner Viola Davis will produce and star in the upcoming feature G20 from Amazon Studios and MRC Film. The action thriller from director Patricia Riggin sees terrorists overtake the G20 summit, with American President Taylor Sutton, played by Davis, then bringing all her stagecraft and military experience to defend her family, her fellow leaders, and the world.
I'm all in. Full invest.
Crazy.
White House down, but better.
White House down, but with more world leaders. That's
yeah. And the president says today.
Fox has rounded out the cast for Animal Control. Michael Rowlands, Grace Palmer, Jerry D, Kerry Ogsman, and Alvina August join Joel McHale, Bella Lovell, and Ravi Patel in the upcoming straight-to-series workplace comedy. Created by Bob Fisher, Rob Greenberg, and Dan Sterling, the comedy series follows a group of local animal control workers whose lives are complicated by the fact that animals are simple, but humans are not.
I'm not dancing.
Daniel Zavotto is set to star opposite Anna Kendrick in the true crime thriller The Dating Game, which Kendrick is also directing. The script is from a Blacklist script by Ian McDonald and is based on the Stranger Than Fiction true story of Cheryl Bradshaw, who was a bachelorette on the hit 70s TV matchmaking show The Dating Game and chose handsome and funny bachelor number one, Rodney Alcala. But behind Alcala's charming facade was a deadly secret. He was a psychopathic serial killer.
I know why you're laughing, but fully invest.
I just love the idea that it's like, how about we get some serial killers in more of these reality shows today? You know? Make him the bachelor.
You know what happens. Heads hit the block after the block.
Apple TV has rounded out the ensemble cast for Sunny, a half-hour darkly comedic drama starring and executive produced by Rashida Jones. Joanna Sotomura stars in the titular role, along with Annie the Clumsy, Yu, Judy Ong, and Jun Kunimura.
Partial invest. Rashida Jones. Apple TV. I feel like they could do something.
Yeah. Just a bunch of weird names. I don't know if it's... yeah. No, apparently one of these people is called Yu.
I mean, no need to be racist, Ash.
It just seems like a recipe for, like, who's on first, like, conversations, you know?
Yeah, I mean, good point, yeah.
Owen Croshew has joined the ensemble cast of Kevin Costner's epic western Horizon, which is currently shooting in Utah. Horizon follows the 15-year span of pre- and post-Civil War expansion and settlement of the American West. Experienced through the eyes of many, the journey is fraught with peril and intrigue, from the constant onslaught of natural elements to interactions with the indigenous people who lived on the land, and the determination at many times the ruthlessness of those who sought to settle it.
No, I'm not investing. This is going to be white savior shit.
Wow. Just because he did Dances with Wolves, it's always going to be a white savior thing.
Yep, that's right.
Chloe Bennett and our boy Ronnie Cheng have joined the cast of Interior Chinatown, a new series in the works at Hulu from 20th Century, and creator executive producer Charles Yu, who wrote the 2020 bestseller of the same name. Interior Chinatown follows the story of Willis Wu, played by Jimmy O Yang, a background character trapped in a police procedural, trying to find his way into the larger story, and along the way discovers secrets about the strange world he inhabits and his family's buried history.
That's wild. Fully invest.
Yeah. Looking forward to that one. ABC has greenlit the new unscripted comedy series, The Prank Panel, a show where everyday people pitch pranks targeting family members, friends, and co-workers to a panel of the world's greatest pranksters. As the show's panel of prankspurts, Johnny Knoxville, Eric Andre, and Gabrielle Sidibe will give viewers a behind-the-scenes look at how they help to plot and plan elaborate and diabolical schemes. They're taking on double duty as mentors and saboteurs, and sometimes celebrity guests will join in on the fun.
Fully invest. I saw this the other day, like last week or whatever, and I was like, Johnny Knoxville and Eric Andre. I mean, alright, done.
Wow, way to leave Gabrielle's way out of there.
Sorry.
Amelia Jones is set to lead director Susanna Fogel's darkly comedic biopic Winner, which has just started principal photography. After exposing Russia's interference in the 2016 US presidential election, reality Winner was sentenced to 5.5 years in prison, the longest sentence ever given to someone charged under the Espionage Act for leaking government documents. The story follows Winner, a brilliant young misfit from Texas who finds her morals challenged while serving in the US Air Force and working as an NSA contractor. The film will offer a fresh take on the traditional whistleblower thriller. The coming-of-age story follows an idealistic young woman persecuted before standing up for her beliefs.
Yeah, full invest. I've heard that sounds like good. Yeah, could be a potential Oscar buzz sort of story or touchstone, I guess. So sure.
Disney is actively looking to develop an Indiana Jones TV show for Disney Plus. Variety has learned exclusively from
Fully
sources,
invest.
The House of Mouse. And Lucasfilm has officially been bringing up the possibility of a streaming show set in the world of a globe-trotting archaeologist in general meetings with writers of late, sources say. They are still looking for a writer to take on the project, thus no plot details are given. Given that it is unknown if the series will serve as a prequel to or a spin-off of the film franchise or if it will tie into the upcoming fifth Indiana Jones, similarly how Disney has tied its Marvel shows on Disney Plus into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yeah, you're fully invested.
If it's young indie, I'm fully investing.
There's no guarantees, It's just a show set in the...
I'm rolling the dice.
Jones
I'm fully investing. I'm fully investing after.
Alright, your funeral.
Right. My party too.
Netflix has landed the feature rights to Seesaw Monster, a 2019 book by Kotaro Isaka, whose novel Maria Beetle was recently adapted in David Leitch's actioneer Bullet Train for Sony. Olivia Milch will adapt the screenplay with Oscar winner Anne Hathaway and Oscar nominee Salma Hayek Pinault attached to star. Who will direct it is not yet clear. While Netflix is keeping plot specifics under wraps, has described the film as an action comedy two-hander that will leave Hathaway and Pinault playing rival force together. The few descriptions of Seesaw Monster is to be found online bill it as a story moving between the Japan of the Showa age and 2050, centered on the relationship between a wife and her mysterious mother-in-law.
I'm not investing.
Yeah, there was a lot there. I wasn't expecting. In demand, Oscar nominee Florence Pugh is set to lead the psychological thriller
Fully
The Pack.
invest.
Alexander Skarsgård is set to direct and co-star in the film, which will be one of the hottest packages in next week's American film market. The film, which begins shooting in March, follows a group of documentarians who braved the remote wilderness of Alaska in an effort to save a nearly extinct species of wolves. When the crew is brought back together at a prestigious award ceremony, tensions flare as a deadly truth threatens to unravel their work. The team live through the harsh environments of the wild, but will a secret they share survive the night?
Yeah, fully invest.
Yeah, fully invested. Yeah. Layla George is set to star alongside Cate Blanchett and Kevin Kline in Disclaimer, a new psychological thriller series from Alfonso Cuarón for Apple TV+. Based on the novel of the same name by Bruno Knight, Disclaimer tells the story of Catherine Ravenscroft, a successful and respected television documentary journalist whose work has been built on revealing the concealed transgressions of long-respected institutions.
I'll partially invest for Alphonse.
Okay, last one. Mary Holland has signed on to star alongside Amy Adams and Scoot McNairy in Searchlight Pictures' darkly comic horror Night Bitch, based on the debut novel of Rachel Yoder. Marielle Heller is directing from her own script. The film is now in production, tells the story of a woman thrown into the stay-at-home routine of raising a toddler in the suburbs, who slowly embraces the feral power deeply rooted in motherhood as she becomes increasingly aware of the bizarre and undeniable signs that she may be turning into a canine.
I've got this book on my wish list from a couple of years ago. I remember reading that people saying it was good. So for that part, fully invest.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll find out in a few years how well Dylan did.
Yeah.
All right, let's give some thumbs to some trailers. Of course, you can find all the trailers we are about to talk about in the show notes below. Let's just kick things straight off with The Eternal Daughter, directed by Joanna Hogg, starring Tilda Swinton, Joseph Meidel, Carly Sophia Davies, and Alfie Sankey Green. A middle-aged daughter and her elderly mother must confront long-buried secrets when they return to their former family home, a once grand manor that has become a nearly vacant hotel brimming with mystery. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer?
Really good. You got this, dual performance happening with what's her name? Just losing my mind over it.
Tilda Swinton?
Tilda Swinton, yeah. Who's she's obviously a wide range, the roles and prosthetics and stuff she does, but really good just seeing someone like that get to show her caliber of acting skill. Looks like a tense psychological thriller, I guess. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm going to double thumbs up. I don't really know what's going on, but it just looks. I got Tilda Swinton. I got A24. I don't know. Double thumbs up.
Yeah. I think I'll give it one up, one down. Didn't really grab me, but it's interesting that Tilda Swinton's playing both characters, especially given she played multiple characters in a film recently. Maybe she's just so good she can't just do one role at one time. But yeah, I mean, this isn't of all the Joanna Hogg films that I would need to watch. This isn't the one that's going to be at the top of my list. So yeah, one up, one down for me. Yeah, so this is releasing in the US on the 2nd of December 2022, but there is currently no Australian release date, of course. Next trailer, Bumper in Berlin, developed by Megan Amram and Elizabeth Banks, starring Adam Devine, Flula Borg, Sarah Hyland, Jamila Jamil, and Lyra Abova. Set several years after his last appearance in Pitch Perfect, the series follows Bumper Allen as he moves to Germany to revive his music career after one of his songs becomes a big hit in Berlin. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer?
I remember when they announced, like I read, or not announced, I just remember reading like the upcoming or something like that, like only a couple weeks ago and realized this was actually a thing. And at first I sounded really, like I was like, I don't know if that interests me, but then I saw Jamila Jamil. That's it, right? Yes. I saw she was in it. I was like, all right, never mind. I'm back in because I enjoy watching her and things. So, because it's like when I think about it, I really love Pitch Perfect, like the films, especially the first two, or first one, second one, the third one I didn't love, but those films in general. But I mean, when I think about Pitch Perfect, I'm like, man, Adam Levine's guys, like it's not like a jumping out standpoint. But I thought the trailer for this was really good. I'm going double thumbs up. I think this looks like a lot of fun, actually. So,
yeah, I'll give it one up, one down as well. I know,
man. I'm really the much more happy.
I mean, it looks fun, but I don't have high hopes. I mean, the story is taken from the life of David Hasselhoff, isn't it? It's just telling his life, but with Bumper from Pitch Perfect. I mean, the cast looks fun, but yeah, it just, I'll probably watch it, I don't think anybody would be like, wow, Pitch Perfect is going to be an amazing movie. But then we watched it and we had a good time. So,
yeah.
Hopefully this is a similar thing, So, this is coming to Stan on the 24th of November. Next trailer, Troll, directed by Roar Udtag, starring Inn-Marie Willman, Kim Falk, Mads Sjohag Peterson, Gard B. Eisvold, Paul Richard Lunderboy, and Eric Vorenholtz. When an explosion in the Norwegian mountains awakens an ancient troll, officials appoint a fearless paleontologist to stop it from wreaking deadly havoc. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Troll?
Watched this the other day. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm all about this. And then I knew someone else who would be straight into it. It was my dad, because my dad loves shitty monster. Like, he loves those Sharknado movies and just like absolute nonsensical monster movies and stuff. So I showed him and he's like, yes, I'm in. So I think it looks really good. The funniest thing about this is it's literally just King Kong but a troll. But they did that movie like 10 years ago, I feel like, Trolls, and that was multiple trolls, but I don't feel like that had anywhere near the budget this does. This actually looks like a high budget Netflix movie. Like, the CGI and everything else looks really, really good. But I mean, I like these sorts of movies when they're done well, and every now and then you can't really tell who to watch them. They always look good in the trailers, and you watch them, and I feel like they either fall very quickly into and then very quickly into that was great. So I'll be watching it nonetheless. I'm keen. Double thumbs up. I'm all in. Double thumbs up on everything this week, apparently.
Yeah, this is 2 thumbs up from me as well. I think, I enjoyed the build up, the slow reveal of the troll. Like, the troll isn't revealed till, like, towards the end. It looks like a fantastic monster movie, even though it's set in some Norway, I want to say.
Yeah, well, it's like that. That's they use trolls because it's their folklore, or Scandinavia. So it's like their folklore or whatever that just leans that way. So it's the same as like Japanese monsters is obviously like kaiju and in America.
I love that the craziness of them getting a paleontologist to come and deal with this.
Wow, scientists using scientists is
but not a scientist, like someone who just studies the fossils of stuff.
Yeah, they did in Jurassic Park. So.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Like, I enjoyed the opening of the people like hiding in their house, and then the whole house is ripped apart. Really interesting. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Next trailer is Christmas Ransom, directed by Adele Vuko, starring Matt O'Kine, Miranda Tapsell, and Ed Oxenbould. When a beloved Toy Story Harrington and Sons is hijacked on Christmas Eve by a pair of bumbling criminals and the struggling owner held for ransom, a pair of shoplifting kids stumble into the heist where they are forced to team up with a heavily pregnant security officer to save Christmas for everyone. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Christmas Ransom?
I think it looks fun. I really always appreciate when I can fall back on Stan and know that they'll have, like, they are just the place producing the most original Australian content. And I like the fact that I think 2-3 years now, at least 2, we've had an Australian produced Christmas movie. So I like that.
This is the writers of this did Sunbird Christmas.
Yeah, so 2 years then, definitely. I don't know if there was one before that, I can't think of.
I don't know if there was one last year,
yeah. So, or did they miss a year then? I guess COVID, probably didn't help. But I like how we've had these, like, at least a couple of years. So, I enjoy Meadowcomb, right? Yes?
Yep.
I enjoy everything I've watched him in these other Stan show, whatever else. So, yeah, I'm keen to watch this December 1st. We'll go one up, one down for the trailer because it was a little bit like the start was like, yeah, fine, whatever. And then I actually thought when it sped up the pace and just started like doing more text on screen to bit jokes cut in between, it just felt a little bit funnier there. And I like the part of them with that stupid bogan woman was like, hurry up and tie fast and shower. I want to be on beach at Bali on my fucking Christmas. But she doesn't say fuck me. I was like, I thought it was funny. So yeah, I'm going one up, one down.
Yeah, I'll go one up down as well. I mean, it looks like an amalgamation of a bunch of different things. With a bunch of Aussie humour. I think the most crazy thing about this trailer is like the toy store about this movie. I don't think I'd ever see a toy store like that here in Australia.
No, well,
with
I mean, it's just a big toy world. Or, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just too niche-y. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah. So this one is releasing on December 1st on Stand. Here's my question: we are doing a Christmas podcast. If you haven't seen it already, we're doing a very Explosion Network Christmas. You can find it at explosion.com. We've just finished discussing all the Santa Claus movies, all 3 of them. We're about to do episode by episode after shows for the Santa Clauses, which are releasing this week on Disney Plus. We've already committed to doing Spirited, the Will Ferrell, Ryan Reynolds, Octavia Spencer film, the spoiler cast. We're going to do a spoiler cast for Violent Night, starring David Harbour. So we need to add this to the list.
You know what you need to add, actually?
Mm-hmm.
If it was up to me. I watched a trailer for a movie the other day. Christmas Bloody Christmas. Have you seen this one?
No.
My God. If you should watch... I watched a trailer. I was like, fuck yeah. It's a horror movie, Christmas movie. Obviously, that's why I picture it.
Then no.
But it's wild. It doesn't... like it's a robotic Santa that goes around and he's like got laser beam eyes at one point and it's just like coming alive and obviously it's not taking itself very seriously. There's a few like outlandish lines and stuff like that, but I was like, yes. I like how I've got 2 horror, like between that and what is the David Harbour one called?
Violent Night. I don't think that's a horror movie. That's a
horror movie. No, it's a horror action movie. Come on, it's going around killing people. It looks violent. I like how I got 2 adult
if we can find a way to watch this before Christmas here in Australia, we'll do it.
Okay.
But do you want to do a Christmas Ransom as well?
Fucking alright, fine.
Yeah. I tell you what, Netflix has just dropped a bunch of trailers for Christmas movies, so I don't know if we're going to have to add more to the list. Your idea to do a Christmas podcast.
To review every fucking Christmas movie that comes out. Jesus Christ.
We got to do the Lindsay Lohan one.
Bloody hell.
No, we don't. Alright, final trailer for this week. John Wick Chapter 4, directed by Chad Stahelski, starring Keanu Reeves, Donnie Yen, Bill Skarsgård, Lawrence Fishburne, Hiroyuki Sanada, Shabir Anderson, Lance Reddick, Rina Sawayama, Scott Adkins, Ian McShane. John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table. But before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for John Wick Chapter 4?
100% in. These movies just continue to look good to me. There's a part here where he's shooting people on a horse, And then there's the other part where he's like walking upstairs and somehow dodging bullets while shooting people. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But I get my boy Donnie Yen versus John Wick. Double thumbs up, I'm sold.
I'll give it 2 thumbs up as well. I think it looks really good. Got me really interested. Great cast. I think that last shot of them with Tim and Donnie Yen with swords
Just going at it,
shooting each other. Is this John Wick or is this The Matrix? I don't know. Because surely you can't do that in real life. It has to be some sort of sci-fi element, right?
No, he's just deflecting bullets with the gun. Or blocking the bullets with the gun.
How?
Puts it up. I don't know, he's just John Wick, man. Fucking John
Yeah,
Wick
this-
I like how
I don't
every
know, this
movie
looks-
Donnie Yen's in, I don't know any of his characters' names. I'm just like, it's John Wick versus Donnie Yen, you know? Like,
Yeah, look crazy. Also, Hiroyuki Sanada, he's working.
Mm.
You know? He's like in pretty much every other movie, right? It feels like. If you got a big action movie, Hiroyuki Sanada's going to be in it.
Is a spoiler to say he's in Bullet Train on?
I don't think so. I think that was in the trailer.
Was
I think it was in trailers. So
Okay, I can't remember, but yeah.
yeah,
It's cool
I
on
feel
that.
like I've seen a lot of him in the last couple of years. So yeah, 2 thumbs up from me. Okay, John Wick Chapter 4 is releasing in cinemas on March 23rd, 2023. All right, let's wrap up this week's episode of What Do You Want to Watch with our What Do You Want to Watch top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
And in honor, I guess, of Westworld getting cancelled, this week's top 3 is top 3 cancelled shows you should still watch.
Whoa, you didn't add that asterisk. Whoa! No, it's fine.
I mean, that's literally what it says in what I wrote down. It says top 3 cancelled shows you should still watch.
Okay.
Dylan, what's your number 3?
Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. It was really good. It was sort of this shows a better Terminator thing than most of the Terminator things that have come out since T2. Actually, that's probably fair. I think Sarah Connor Chronicles is the best Terminator thing since Terminator 2. And then runner up, I'll put that in third place. I'd probably put that last movie that came out, whatever that one was called. I can't remember. But obviously, it stars. It has what's her name from Game of Thrones? The Queen.
Lena Headey.
Lena Headey plays Sarah Connor. Then you've got the other girl, I can't remember, who plays the Terminator and everything. It's just like a really good road trip where it like builds upon a relationship with these characters. Obviously you've got Connor, the kid, in it as well, played by someone I can't remember who, but the fact that they could have built up and potentially, if this done really well, it would have. I feel like this series, if it played out over several seasons, it would have been really good to build up and then play out in an actual like movie to finish off the show, but make it the next actual Terminator show. Terminator movie being a finale of this would have been a really good way to play it all out. But yeah, apparently if people didn't like it, not enough people watched it. It's crazy thinking about how like the Terminator movies always do well, but maybe it's just the fact it didn't have Arnie, I guess. I don't know. But it was good.
Yeah, absolutely. Good pick. My number 3, and I'll say, doing a bit of research, trying to get inspiration for like what shows would you recommend. A lot of these shows that people claim are cancelled are shows that ran several seasons, and they're like, "Oh, we just want more of it."
Yeah,
It
they're
didn't
like,
get
"Oh
cancelled;
man,
it ended.
it got
It
cancelled
ended.
at 13 seasons, and it got one last season." Yeah, I don't know.
No. My number 3, High Fidelity. I've talked about it a lot. Of course, Zoe Kravitz starring in this gender-bent version of Ben Hornsby's novel. It is superior to the movie, in my opinion. A lot of fun. It still works as like a one season, 10 episode miniseries. Would have loved more, but yeah, I would definitely recommend still going out and checking out High Fidelity. Great ensemble, lots of great supporting characters, who have a lot of them going on to bigger and other things. So yeah. Dylan, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Glow. Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, Netflix. The fact that this show is cancelled was some of the most pissed off cancellation I think I've had in the last 5 years, probably. They just needed at least one more season. I feel like in one more season, just let them wrap it up. Let the way they left those characters, it keeps me up at night, Tash. I'll tell you what, it keeps me up at night. It's absolutely disgusting. I just need one more season to see these characters through and everything. And that was one of Netflix's best shows, one of my favorite Netflix shows. So Yeah, real disappointing. I wish we could get a lot, just see those characters through to the finish, but way the cookie crumbles.
It is. My number 2 is American Vandal. Of course, this is the mockumentary series that was on Netflix, in which it was cancelled.
Mm.
I mean, there were 2 seasons. It's very self-contained, but and I did actually rewatch this recently in the last couple of months. Still holds up. Still very funny. Whether it's the mystery of who drew the dicks or who. Did
you just rewatch it because of players or?
Yeah. Yeah. Still great. Still sad that we didn't get more of it. But again, like the 2 leads of the series have gone on to bigger and better things. Obviously, they're doing players now, so you can't be too upset. But yeah, it's a cancelled show that you should go watch. Dylan, what is your number 1?
My number 1 is. You want to guess? I feel like this isn't as easy. Sometimes these are really easy, and you like give me a top 3, and you could guess my number 1. I don't know if you could guess my number 1.
It's number 1, Veronica Mars.
No, because that came back. I don't feel like that should count.
Okay, that's fair.
I feel like okay, yeah. I didn't think you would, but Hannibal.
Oh.
Yeah. So Hannibal was cancelled. It didn't get to see its finish through. Considering the way, I'm going to spoil the way this show ends because I don't feel like at this stage, surely anyone who cares about those shows watched it. But the fucking last episode that we ever had of that show literally has and fall off the side of a fucking and we never got any more. I'm like, are you fucking really going to end the show that way? Like, I never got to find out what happens to these characters. Especially in a world where they were.
Well, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, they would have done more, but I'm so pissed off that we didn't get more because Brian Fuller's talked about how he was going to set up and he was actually going to start because he wasn't trying to fully adapt the books, like it was his own version of the things, but he was going to start introducing Jodie Foster's character from Silence of the Lambs next and like start bringing in elements from that and whatever else. But yeah, I mean, Hannibal is one of my favorite shows of all time, top 10. I don't know where it plays there. I've never actually ranked it, but Hannibal is one of my favorite shows of all time. The fact that I never got any more of that show is so disappointing to me. It's one of the best written, best shot, well acted shows of all time. And yeah, makes me super sad. I never got more.
Coincidentally, my number 1.
Hannibal. That's crazy. I didn't know you watched it. What the fuck?
Is also a Brian Fuller show.
Yeah.
Pushing Daisies.
Oh.
Starring Lee Pace, Anna Friel.
Dude can't finish a show.
Just keeps getting kneecapped, He's one of those creators who just create shows that nobody has a small dedicated.
The people who watch it love them, but no one watches them yet.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It doesn't appeal to a wide audience. This is a series in which Lee Pace plays a pie maker with the ability to bring dead things back to life with a touch. So he finds out that his high school sweetheart or crush died. His childhood crush dies, and he brings her back to life. And they, start to get their things together, but he can never touch her again. Otherwise, she'll go back to being dead.
I never actually watched.
So in the meantime, he's working with a private investigator to help him solve different crimes, using his ability to bring people back from the dead for like 60 seconds or something like that. So,
man, you only got 2 seasons. At least I got 3.
I didn't even. It's not even 2 seasons. The first season is only 9 episodes long because it got cut by the writer's strike. So then they refocused the second half of that season into the 13 episodes of the second season, and they got cancelled. I mean, it kind of tells a complete story, but there's a lot of story threads that were never really resolved. But it's a beautiful show with a very interesting aesthetic and way of the character speaking. Yeah, definitely worth checking out.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Love Brian Fuller. You gonna watch Crystal Lake?
Crystal Lake?
Have you seen this one?
I know, yeah. The
ExplosionNetwork.com posted a news story about it. His next
the
show
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, he's doing a Friday the 13th series.
Yeah, that's
come on, Ash.
I wouldn't have high hopes.
Come on, why not?
Let's have a look at his writing catalog. Dead Like Me cancelled before its time. Apparently, if you listen to anybody who loves
I was about to say everyone loves that show.
He worked on Heroes.
Yep.
That show got cancelled as well.
I don't think it was created though.
He did the pilot for Mockingbird Lane, which was a reimagining of the 1960s sitcom of the Munsters. That got cancelled. Obviously did Hannibal.
Mm-hmm.
Then he was a co-developer / writer for American Gods.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
first season.
Then, he co-wrote an executive consultant on Star Trek Discovery, which is still running. So
this is the thing. You watch the first season of American Gods, very much the same aesthetic and tone as Hannibal, which is why me and Nick loved it. And then he left afterwards, and then it went to shit.
So Brian Fuller, one of those interesting creators who just can't catch a break.
I can't wait. Talking about Hannibal though, I kickstarted this art book I feel like nearly 2 years ago.
I think you've talked about this before.
I think I've talked about it probably because I feel like I'm not.
Or
even
at least to me, not necessarily on the podcast.
Yeah, I honestly feel like I'm not exaggerating. I feel like it was almost 2 years ago. They're posting them out finally, and they sent for an email the other day that's like, here's your digital PDF copy, and that sort of thing. And I was going to look through it, but I'm like, why the fuck would I do that? Like, I want to see that shit, IRL. This it's a bunch of Brad Fuller wrote a forward for it and everything, but it's a bunch of fan art and talking about why they love the show and stuff like that. I think so. I'm really excited for that. As a side note, yeah.
Awesome. Well, let us know your top 3 cancelled shows that you still think we should watch. Don't include shows that got cancelled and had a full run. I feel
like I would have put in a world where Veronica Mars didn't come back. Veronica Mars would have taken would have been in that 3. But in the fact it came back and then they just didn't choose to do another season, it's hard to. I got that extra. I got a movie.
You got a movie as well.
I got a movie. I got another season. I can't just keep.
It's I saw The West Wing listed. That had 7 seasons. How can you say they got canned? Yeah, people are weird.
Also, I think I Googled to see if I was missing anything, right? And I saw one list that had the newsroom, which I think was technically true. They were you only get one more season.
Yeah, but
they got to finish the show. They got 6 episodes.
Which is what I was saying before about Westworld. They should just let them finish the shows.
Yeah, they didn't get a full season, but they got less episodes than they finished up the season. Because you've seen the last season of Newsroom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last season was a lot more personal. It was let's just focus on the characters and wrap up their story.
I mean, they had an entire flashback episode.
Yeah.
That was the finale, right?
I think so, yeah. From memory.
Yeah.
Anyway, Newsroom's good, but yeah, I mean, they got if it was cancelled, sure, but they got to finish the show.
All right. Yeah, let us know by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump to Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Tell people about the show. Leave us 5 stars. Anywhere we can leave 5 stars. And if you really like this episode, throw us worth $1. Head on over to our Ko page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.